Hey everyone, it's Justine the Twilight Stamper, and I'm here today to bring you a card for the AAA Card Challenge 43, and this week we're focusing on stars. So come on over, I have the link below, and join us and create something with stars, and you can enter. I'm going to start off with the following background stamp set from Simon Says Stamp. I had received this stamp set as part of being a part of the design team for this challenge actually a little while back, and I thought this would be the perfect occasion to use it. So I'm going to ink it up using some Versamark ink. I decided to stamp this twice on some Tim Holtz watercolor distress paper. One in the top left corner, leaving about an inch on the top and the side, and then I decided to lower it a little bit for this one so that they were uneven. And I stamped it right beside it. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to add some embossing powder and heat emboss this using some Ranger super fine embossing powder. Alright, so I'm just adding my embossing powder here, and if you get any stray embossing powder onto your cardstock, all you need to do is remove it with a dry paintbrush. I'm just going to heat emboss this here. When you see it melting, you'll notice that it turns shiny. That will tell you that it's done. It did warp a little bit, but not a big deal. I had put the cardstock down onto my craft mat, and I taped it down using some washi tape. And the reason why is I didn't want it to warp even more. I started by putting quite a bit of water down into the center of my cardstock and kind of went out on the side because I wanted the colors to spread. Now it's time to do a little bit of watercoloring, and I'll let you watch and listen to some music as I'm going. I used a dark blue, a light blue, and then I used a red and blue to make purple. Okay, and so now that I'm finished watercoloring, and by the way, I did dry between every layer I did on that card. It wasn't exactly on screen. I wanted to cut out this wishing die from Simon Says Stamp using some Nina 80-pound solar white cardstock. And I grabbed a piece of Simon Says Stamp black cardstock, and I wanted to stamp the sentiment onto my black cardstock, excuse me, and using Versamark ink, and I wanted to white heat emboss that as well so that it would stick out on my card. So same as I did in the beginning, I'm just inking this up using Versamark ink. I stamped it towards the middle because I wanted to create a banner, and using my Tupperware container where I can contain most of my embossing powder if I decide not to spill, I'm able to just add that easily and then set that off to the side and use my embossing powder at any time later. It's really quite convenient having this Tupperware. I heat embossed that so that it melted, and then I wanted to create a banner using my scissors, so I just go from the top corner to the middle on each side. The more you practice doing this, the easier it gets, and the more even they end up becoming so that you don't have to use dies anymore and you can save yourself some money. Now, it took me a really long time to kind of get this down pat. You can also use a pencil mark to mark the center where you should cut down to. I'm going to add some 3D phone tape to the back of this. As you can see, it's already on there, and prop that up onto my card. Because my card was quite saturated with paper, it actually kind of goes indented, but in a good way, kind of warped. I'm actually kind of excited about the way it warped, which rarely happens because it just makes it look really cool. And I'm going to add, using my Tombow Mono liquid adhesive, the sentiment wishing against the blue background. So I'm just setting that into the middle there, and off screen I ended up adding the little dots to the eyes. I forgot to record that. And I'm using my card base. I taped it, or it was cut at 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5.5 inches, and folded downwards to create a top folding card, as I usually do. Used a lot of Tombow Mono liquid adhesive because this piece of paper was a little bit warped, and I held my hands on there for quite a bit of time so that it really molded to the card base. And now I just need to add a couple of sequins to my card here. I'm using white lily sequins from Doodlebug, and I'm using my Pick Me Up tool here to put those on. So all I do is dunk it in a little bit of the Tombow Mono liquid adhesive on the back, and then I just stick them down and hold it there, and then it works out. Normally I use the other part of this Pick Me Up tool so I can kind of do it hands-free, but I couldn't find the other part of it for the video. I misplaced it in my crafty mess. And so I added just 3 sequins there to my card, and that marked the end of today's card tutorial. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you join us for the challenge. All my links to all the supplies are in the description below, as well as in my blog. Thanks again everyone for watching, and be sure to hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, and thumbs up.